everyone, it's Maddie. Today I wanted to make a tutorial on how to modify baby diapers into adult diapers, and what that means is taking baby diaper like this and turning it into something like this. Now, this is something that I've been doing myself for a few years now, and I've also posted pictures of them occasionally on my socials, and every time I do, there's always people in the comments asking how I do it. And so I finally gotten around to sharing my process, just because I think that this is a really helpful thing for age regressors who wear diapers like myself. And I'm sure you know, if you're an age regressor who wears diapers, it's nearly impossible to find cute adult diapers that don't come from shops that are kink affiliated, which I know for a lot of people in the community is a problem. Like, if you feel uncomfortable buying for those types of shops, or if you're a minor and you're simply not old enough to purchase from them, like if they have like an 18 plus restriction, like I know for example Tykables does. But with this tutorial you can make your very own adorable adult sized baby diapers. They're absolutely adorable, and they're 100% safe for age regressors, because you don't have to buy or interact with any kink shops in order to make this diaper. So, without further ado, let's get started. So here's what you'll need for this project. First and foremost, of course, you're going to need some baby diapers. And I recommend using size 6 or above, just because the bigger the size, the better it'll look when you actually go to put it onto the adult diaper. And you're going to need 2 of these baby diapers. These particular ones are a Pampers Swaddlers. This is one of the prints that come with them, and they're just really cute. Literally, you can use whatever baby diaper you want, like as long as you like the print, and as long as it's a size 6 or above, you're good to go. And next, of course, you're going to need an adult-sized diaper, specifically a cloth-backed diaper, simply because I've never done this project with a plastic-backed diaper, and I think that because both the baby diaper and this are both cloth-backed, the tapes are a lot more compatible with it. So you just want a plain cloth-backed adult diaper with minimal prints. Like this just has the wetness indicator on it. That's fine. And I should say you also want something that's maybe a little bit higher quality than this. Like this is just a cheap diaper from Walgreens. Ideally you'll want a better quality adult diaper, like Abina's or North Shore, simply because you're going to be spending a little bit of time working on this thing, so you'll want it to be a little higher quality. Of course, if you can't afford a higher quality diaper and you're just stuck with something like this, that's perfectly fine. I'm just using this as for demonstrative purposes. So the next thing you'll want is some rubber cement or some other type of adhesive, but rubber cement is my adhesive of choice because I find that it gives a really good hold when you're adhering this to this. It gives a really strong, good hold to it, and also the fumes from it aren't too bad, so it's workable indoors. Now, of course, if you're allergic to latex, of course, obviously don't use rubber cement. You can also use spray adhesive or craft glue, but I will say about craft glue, it is a little bit messier and it does take longer for it to dry. And with spray adhesive, you have to use that either outside or somewhere that has really good ventilation. The next thing you'll need are some craft clips or binder clips like these. I recommend binder clips simply because I feel like they give a much stronger hold when you're going to be spreading this out. They give a really good hold. Right there. And next, scissors. No explanation needed. And then next you'll want a kind of a flat, like a flat thin surface. Like the one I'm going to be using is this artboard that I used for my classes a couple years ago. This is perfect. It could be a little bigger because like this particular board doesn't fit the entire diaper, but it's manageable. But as long as it's just a flat, thin surface that you're able to spread the diaper out on and you're able to clip it down, that'll work. And lastly, and this one is optional, a pencil, because it might come in handy with the later steps. So, this is everything you need for this project. Now, let's get started. So the first step in this process is to remove the tabs that are in the front and the back. So that's these right here, and then also these in the front. And these usually come off pretty easily. This is probably the easiest step in the whole process. But basically, you just grip it and you just rip it off the diaper. Just like that. And even though they usually do come off pretty easy, you don't want to be too rough with it because like there's always a chance that you might damage the outside shell, because that will impact the way that it'll look on the final product. But yeah, they usually come off pretty easily. Don't worry if it looks a little messy, you can go back and clean it up later. So after you've done that, move on to the next step. Now this next step is probably the hardest step of this whole process, and that's because in this step you have to remove all of the elastic from the inside of the diaper. So that means basically anything that makes the diaper stretch, you have to remove it. So like this waistband here, the leg gathers on the sides, and also right here. And then like on the sides of the diaper, there's like some there. Don't know if you can see that. But yeah, you have to remove all of that. And so where I usually start is like if after I rip off the tapes there's like a strand of something, I usually like to just like pull on that, and that'll be a great help. Like that. Let's see if I can do that with the other side. Yep. There's like some extra stuff over here from the last step. Just peel it off. And usually the elastic will be like these little strands right here. You just pull that out. And sometimes you'll even want to start like up here because that's where the waistband is. So just gently tear it off. And kind of like dig your finger under there. And just rip it off. Just like that. There we go. And then rip off the front. And then this is definitely the trickiest part because the elastic is kind of like embedded into the inside of the diaper. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's like kind of like stuck in between the cloth, this cloth material and the outside plastic. So definitely take your time with this step because you definitely don't want to rush it, because if you try to rush it, you might end up ripping up this outer layer, and that'll affect the final product. So you'll want to just kind of like look up here, see if there's any loose material that you can pull on, and just go for it. Like there's like a little strand right there I can get. Oh, where'd it go? Little strand I can get there. And sometimes if needed, you can tear off more and just... It's a very, very time consuming step, so I will probably fast forward through this. And so when you're done removing all the elastic, the final product should look something like this. The baby diapers should lay completely flat, no scrunching anywhere. Let me get a little closer. See, it lays completely flat. It's not flat, like scrunching up anywhere. That's because all the elastic in it is gone. And so you'll want to do this for both of your baby diapers. Get it nice and flat just like that. And don't worry if like the edges are like ragged, because like that'll happen throughout the whole like taking it apart process. You can always just go back and kind of make it look a little neat later with your scissors. But yeah, that's what it should look like. So once your diapers are nice and flat, the next thing you'll need to do to them is to remove the inside absorbent padding. Now this step can be different depending on what diaper you're working with, but with these pamper swaddlers, basically what I do, and this is what I like to do with like most of the diapers that I've used for mods like this, is usually there's like a first layer that's like outside of it. So like on pamper swaddlers it's a lot more obvious. You can see there's like the first layer there, and that's really easy to cut through. So first we're going to cut through that layer, and I like to cut all the way around because it makes removing it a lot easier. And the way that most diapers are constructed is usually the inside padding is in its own little pouch. That's like its own self-contained pouch inside of the diaper, and it's attached to the plastic backing. You can actually see here. So this is the first layer of the absorbent backing. Not absorbent backing. The first layer of the absorbent pouch. Then there's the pouch itself, and you see it's attached to the plastic right there. So first we want to focus on removing the first layer around it. I'll move over here and move this up so you guys can see better. So just remove that first layer, just cut around like that. Right? And you can do it to the other side, but for the sake of going a little fast, we won't do that. So basically, the goal is to remove the part that's attached to this plastic right here. The goal is to slowly and gently remove it from there without spilling all the absorbent stuff in here. And with the pamper swaddlers, this part is actually pretty simple, but I know some diapers, like the Loves, the Paw Patrol Loves that I've tried this with, removing the pouch from the plastic with minimal damage is actually kind of hard to do. So just really take your time. Really take your time with this step, because if you don't and you try to rush it, you could end up ripping the plastic, and that could end up damaging, you know, the final design. So just keep that in mind. With these particular ones that I'm working with right now, it's really easy to remove, but I know with some diapers there might be like a little bit more glue to work with. So you just have to keep that in mind. And so once you've removed all that, you can just discard that. And so you should just have this plastic shell remaining. So plastic on the inside, and then of course the cloth backing on the outside. And there might be like a few like remaining strands of the inside if you just cut out with scissors, but yep. So you're gonna do this with both of your baby diapers, and that's what it should look like. Okay, so I have moved on to my flat surface of choice, which is my clipboard. And we're not going to be clipping anything yet, but what you are going to do is you're going to put your 2 baby diapers out onto your flat surface, and we're going to do 2 things with them. So first, we're going to take one of these baby diapers, we're going to fold it where the back is. So you see there's the back. It usually will like say that it's the back, but so we're going to go to the back and we're going to fold it like that. And what we're going to do is we are going to cut off this backing. And you're probably wondering, well, wait, why are we doing that? Well, it's because we only need the backings of one of the diapers. And you're going to see why when we actually apply it onto the adult diaper. But yeah, we're just going to cut off the back of one of them. Just one of them, remember. You don't want to do it to both of them. Alright, so now you just have the front portion remaining of one of them. I'm going to flip that back over. And so, after that, you're then going to, obviously, we'll flip them over onto the plastic side. This is the plastic side. And we're going to apply a little bit of rubber cement. It won't focus, but yeah, we're going to apply a little bit of rubber cement or whatever adhesive of your choice that you'll be using. And so if you're using rubber cement, let me move this out of the way a little bit so I can show you guys. Basically, you'll want to work in very thin coats because a little goes a long way when it comes to rubber cement. So let me zoom in just a little. You can kind of better see what I'm doing. So, and also I should say you also kind of maybe like want a fan or something in the while you're working on this, because the fumes, they're not as bad as, sorry, give me a minute. So the fumes are not as bad as, say, like spray adhesive, but after a while they can be a little dizzying. So just like have like a fan, very light fan or something on while you're doing this, just to kind of offset some of the fumes. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a thin layer of rubber cement onto this plastic side. And again, you'll want to work in pretty thin coats. Uh-oh. That'll happen sometimes, it's okay. But yeah, we're just gonna just smooth it on there. And sometimes you don't even have to add that much rubber cement to it, because like sometimes, like especially with these Pampers Swaddlers, they already kind of have a little bit of glue on them left over from the pouch that you peeled away. So sometimes it's not even really all that needed. But I'm going to apply more here. You want to cover the whole diaper. And again, don't add a whole lot. You just need very thin coats and just kind of spread it around. Uh-oh. Around evenly all over the diaper. I'm probably going to fast forward this because it takes a little bit. Hi, Future Maddie here. I forgot to mention during this part that in the process of applying the rubber cement to the baby diapers, the yellow wetness indicator may turn blue for a moment, like you can see in this clip. If this happens to you too, don't worry. Once the rubber cement dries, the indicator should go back to being yellow. If you're really worried about the wetness indicator turning blue, you can just avoid putting rubber cement on that area by covering it with like a piece of cardboard or something while you work. So once you're done adding the rubber cement to both of your diapers, you'll just want to just let them sit and let it dry. They'll definitely be very sticky, so try not to let them touch or let them like bunch up on each other. Just lay them out flat as you can, and just let the rubber cement dry, and just move them off of the flat surface. Just push them to the side, because next we're going to be using this board to spread out our adult diaper. So now we're going to move on to our next portion with the adult diaper. So you're going to spread that out onto your flat thin surface, and you're going to have it spread out in all directions with your art clips or binder clips, as I have here. My specific board or surface is not long enough for the entire thing to spread out, so I've just clipped it at the bottom, and you can do the same if you run into the same problem. Just clip the bottom of it, you can get to it later. But yeah, this is what it should look like, and of course my surface has the clips at the top, but if yours doesn't, then of course you'll need some clips up here, and you just want to spread it out and just make it as, I don't know, like as straight and centered as you possibly can for our next step. So before we move on to the real next step, I want to show you guys the optional step that involves the pencil. So what you do is you take these shells of your baby diapers, and you're going to lay them down on here. You're not going to press down. Be careful not to press down. But what you're going to do is you're going to lay them flat. Again, be very careful to not press down. You're going to take your pencil and you're going to lightly trace the outline of where the baby diaper is. So, like that. And they don't have to go all the way around. They can just like be little tick marks like what I'm making. Just something to mark where you're going. That. And also, we put it right here. It's going to be covered up anyway. Take that off. I don't know if the camera will be able to pick it up because it's pretty light, but there are the tick marks that I made. And you'll repeat the same process for the other side with the other shell. So the real next step in this process is to apply rubber cement onto the adult diaper, but only in the areas where the shells of the baby diapers will be placed. If you did the optional step, then use the outlines or tick marks that you drew as guidelines for where to apply the rubber cement. Again, try to work in thin coats. Next, once the rubber cement on the adult diaper dries, you're going to take the shell of the baby diaper that you cut the back off of, and you're going to carefully lay it over the front of the adult diaper where you applied the rubber cement. Again, if you did the optional step, use the markings that you made as a guide for where to place the baby diaper. And once the baby diaper is lined up properly, you're going to press down on it and slowly and gently smooth it out, starting from the top and making your way down. And make sure you go slow and don't try to rush this step. I know I've said that a lot during this video, but it's very important because in this particular step, if you try to rush it, the shell of the baby diaper could bunch up and look bumpy and uneven on the final product. And for the back of the diaper, you're going to repeat literally the exact same process that you did for the front of the diaper. And you can see that I flipped my diaper around so that now I'm working on the back side of the diaper. And you'll know which side is the back because it's the side that the tapes are on, if you didn't know. The only thing I did differently here is that I cut a little bit off the top of the second baby diaper shell just so there wouldn't be so much overlap between it and the first baby diaper shell that I laid down, but like you absolutely don't have to do this. And just like with the first baby diaper shell, you're going to apply rubber cement to the adult diaper, wait until it dries, and apply the other baby diaper shell. And again, you're going to press down and smooth it out from the top to the bottom. And once that's done, if there are some areas around the edges that didn't quite stick, you can go back in with a little bit more rubber cement and add a little bit more until they stick properly. And once you've attached your second baby diaper, you're going to unclip the adult diaper from your surface, and ta-da! You now have an adult-sized baby diaper. And I'm going to unfold this so you can see what the whole thing looks like. From top to bottom. That's the front. And there is the back. So the whole diaper is covered. It looks just like a baby diaper, but it's sized up so you can wear it. And when you're done, you can fold it back up like this and just like kind of like save it for later, for like wear at another time. Or if you want to wear it like as soon as you're done, like if the cuteness is just way too much and like you want to wear it like as soon as you get done, of course you can also do that. Like just make sure like everything is properly glued down and dried and everything. And you can repeat this whole process with as many diapers as you want. Like if you have like an entire pack of like plain medical diapers, you could literally like mod the entire pack just like this. Like it's so cool. Like of course it takes a lot of time and energy to do that, like especially if you have like a lot in that pack, but it is possible and it is an option. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this is a really great option, a really great alternative for regressors who wear diapers but may not feel comfortable buying, you know, the cute ones from like shops that may be kink affiliated. And this way you can turn plain ordinary medical diapers into diapers that are just as cute as the ones that are found in those kink affiliated shops without, you know, actually having to interact with those shops at all. And I think that that's honestly really cool. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video or you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up. I worked really hard on this video and I faced a lot of setbacks, but I finally wanted to get this video out just to show you guys because, like I said, I think this would be really helpful to the community. And if you have any questions or suggestions for what I should do next, be sure to leave them in the comments below because I want to start being like more active on this channel this year and produce more agery content. And if you try out this project yourself, you know, leave a comment because I want to know how it turned out for you. So thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. Bye!